By the end of this video, you will know everything there is to know about how to successfully beat the afternoon slump once and for all. Let's dive straight into it. Now, if your goal is to scale your business, you might be faced with the issue of going about your day working, and somewhere around midday you are faced with this big afternoon slump. You have to take a nap, you have to drink a couple of cups of coffee to recover, and this is breaking big momentum. So this is gonna be the video that you need to watch, that you want to know what tools you can get equipped with in order to not to face that afternoon slump of energy ever again. Now, the first thing that we want to know when we are wanting to eliminate that afternoon slump is to know the mechanisms that we want to introduce and boost in order for us to feel energetic and maintain that level of energy for all day. The first thing that we need to take into consideration is your body's hormones. Now, our bodies will either be in a state of alertness or will either be in a state of calmness and relaxation and sleep. And this is done by our body being able to produce certain hormones at specific times, which is controlled by a circadian clock. Our body's natural caffeine is cortisol, which is a hormone of stress. If it is in our system in chronically elevated levels, it is terrible for our cardiovascular health. But if it is in the actual portions that we want it to be, which is a good pulse in the morning, this is absolutely phenomenal for immune function, focus levels, energy levels, lowering stress, having more energy and everything. This is sort of like the natural coffee that our body produces to wake us up. Now, we want to have as big of a cortisol pulse in the morning as early as possible. And this is to make us wake up, attack our days, have energy, be focused, be cognitively there, have a strong immune function, overall being as healthy as possible. How do we do that? How does our body know what time should it produce that cortisol? It uses external triggers. The biggest one of them is temperature, our body's temperature, because we know that there is a circadian component to our body's temperature. It is like a wave. The wave goes like this. So we have a peak in our temperature around like evening, like 4 to 6 p.m., and then it dips after that. Now, the rise of the temperature is related with you being alert and being energetic and being functioning and being there and being in a high alertness state. And the dip, as it dips, the slope gets down, it is related with you feeling tired and sleepy. And quite frankly, when your temperature is starting to go down, this is when you are going to sleep. And when your temperature starts to go up, this is when you wake up. And this is why you wake up as well, because your temperature is rising. Now, at the peak, so for example, the peak of the temperature is at 4 to 6 p.m. and after that you're starting to go down. This is why you feel tired. And when the temperature is at the lowest point, it's at 4 to 6 a.m. So it's around the time you're starting to wake up. This is what we need to first understand. Now, after that, if we can get to that point that we align our temperature with the things that we do, this is the biggest cue that we can use to leverage our cortisol production. We need to do things that elevate our body's temperature in the morning, and our triggers are cues for us to be able to have a healthy cortisol pulse, because a rising temperature is one of the things that is going to be triggering cortisol pulse in the morning. How do we do that? The main thing, the main timekeeper of our body is light. So sunlight in the eyes or bright lights in the eyes is going to be triggering a cortisol pulse, and this is one of the main reasons why I keep shouting under the top of my voice, go outside in the morning. I keep stamping this into my audience brain and eyes to make sure to go outside in the morning for 10-20 minutes, make sure that you have that healthy cortisol pulse as early as possible. This is one of the triggers that you want to have. The next thing that you want to have is some form of activity, because activity is an external trigger, an external cue that will support the cortisol pulse. So what you want to think about is compounding many things that will elevate your body's cortisol pulse in the morning. First thing is sunlight. Sunlight in the eyes will help raise your body's temperature and therefore trigger a cortisol pulse. Movement will elevate your body's temperature and will signal the cortisol pulse. The other thing is cold exposure. This is why cold shower helps you wake up really fast. It's not really easy, but it's really fast because it signals your body to elevate your temperature and therefore speed up the process of you waking up and therefore trigger a cortisol pulse. All those things are triggering and signaling the cortisol pulse, and you want to have them as early in the day as possible. So going outside, going for a walk, a jog or jump rope, and then doing a cold shower is the trifecta trifecta of a healthy cortisol pulse in the morning as early as possible. When you're doing this as early as possible, you're guaranteeing yourself high levels of performance and energy for the rest of the day. Now, another part of the process is something called adenosine. Now, adenosine is a molecule that is building in your brain the longer you've been awake for. And this is what makes you want to go to bed. This is what makes you be tired and sleepy. And this is what coffee acts on, but we'll touch on that later. So adenosine is a molecule that in a surplus the more hours you've been awake for. If you've been awake for 16 hours, it's going to be maximized and you want to be like super sleepy at that point. This is one of the mechanisms that is going to be making you go to bed. Now, when you're drinking coffee, caffeine goes to the place that adenosine goes to as well and binds to the receptors so that adenosine cannot bind to there and will not make you tired, therefore. It is really important to note that when you wake up in the morning, even if you had the best nights of sleep possible, some adenosine will be left out in the system and needs to be absorbed by the receptors and cleared out naturally. If you go ahead and right off the bat drink coffee and block the adenosine, because that adenosine that you wake up with is not magically going to be disappearing, it's going to be there, and the longer you stay awake for, you're going to be having a surplus. So while the adenosine receptors are blocked by caffeine, you're going to be having more adenosine and more adenosine coming. At the point that caffeine wears off, it's going to be a boom for your system because all that adenosine is instantly going to be binding and is going to be making you feel crash. So less quantities of adenosine later in the day are going to be having bigger impacts in terms of your energy later in the day. So all that surplus is going to be floating in there in your brain, and when the caffeine wears off, it's going to be binding. This is what the so-called caffeine crash that you experience in the afternoon. This is the main reason why I always say delay your caffeine, your first coffee of the day, for 90 to 120 minutes. This is going to be ensuring that you don't experience the afternoon crash, and one coffee is going to be enough for the whole day. You're going to be getting the most out of your coffee without needing to drink like 2, 3, 4 cups of coffee, and therefore impacting your sleep and therefore entering in the detrimental cycle. Delay your coffee. It's the best way to handle your natural adenosine system in your brain. That's out of the way. That's one of the tools. Now, when it comes to other tools that we can use to beat the afternoon slump for good is food, and particularly carbs. Now, one of the main things that you will find is when you're fasted, you will experience really good mental clarity. You are going to be entering a state of mental clarity, and this is quite natural. This is not a coincidence. This is because your system is higher in cortisol, higher in adrenaline, your brain is firing, many mechanisms get triggered that will make you more energized because there is no energy in your system. You're hungry, and therefore self-defense mechanisms get turned on. Your mitochondria are being more efficient because weak cells are used for energy. This is something called autophagy. Your weak cells get destroyed in the sense of they get self-cannibalized for energy, and therefore your mitochondria are able to function properly, more efficiently, and you having more energy in the long term. So this is one side of the spectrum. Another side of the spectrum is that when you actually go ahead and have your breakfast, which should be at around 3 to 5 hours after waking, if you want to get the benefits of fasting, if you do go ahead and have carbs in that meal, you will set your day up for the crash as well. And the reasons behind that is, first of all, when you're elevating your blood glucose levels, the side effect of that is you having the need to feel tired afterwards and being groggy and lethargic. You don't want to have that. Another side of the spectrum is that complex carbs, for example white rice or any sort of complex carbs, are high in tryptophan. Tryptophan is an amino acid that is the precursor of serotonin. Serotonin is a sedative and makes you feel relaxed and calm. So when you are getting in high amounts of tryptophan early in the day, you're going to be making yourself feeling sedated and relaxed and calm, which is something that you definitely don't want to have when looking to conduct high quality work afterwards. So for the first half of your day, you want to be able to be productive, be efficient, work, move the needle forward, and scale your business. Do the single tasks that require your brain to be on working effectively. Having carbs in the breakfast or the first meal that you have, like after 3 to 4 or 5 hours of fasting after waking, having carbs at that meal is not conducive to you functioning optimally. So keep your carbs for dinner, because that is going to be helping you getting to high quality sleep, because serotonin is also converted into melatonin, and you have many mechanisms that support that. So serotonin is going to be making you feel relaxed, it's going to be making you feel happier, and you want that feeling to leverage that in the evening. So when it's closer to bedtime, serotonin is going to be helping you fall asleep. So remove them from your first meals, take them into the last meals. Another thing that I briefly touched on earlier is workout. We haven't discussed about workout. When should I work work out? When is the best time for me to work out? Turns out that if you do want to get the best energy out of your day and prevent the energy slump you get midday, the best time to work out is to work out in the morning, in the AM, above the first hours of waking up. First 2 hours, 3 hours of waking up. This is going to be supporting the healthy cortisol pulse you get, which is the natural caffeine of your system again, and is going to be boosting your energy later in the day. So if you truly want to compound, as I said, the trifecta of energy in the morning, the best thing would be to do sunlight exposure, work out, and then do your cold showers. However, I would not do my cold showers right after a lifting session. I would do that after a cardio session or a brief walk. I would do that, but after a lifting session, I would not do my cold showers because it stunts the recovery, it stunts the process of you recovering from the gym, and it is not conducive to protein synthesis. So do not do cold showers right after a heavy lifting session. You can do it before, however. So you need to be smart around those mechanisms, and you need to use it as a pre-workout, so to speak. Don't drink coffee if you're working in the first hours of waking up, obviously, but do a cold shower. Cold showers actually have shown to be helping you perform better in the gym and be more awake, be more warm, because they elevate your body's temperature, and you want to have that when you're working out. So work out in the morning, compound with all the other mechanisms that are going to be the trifecta of you feeling energetic, and this is the best thing to do when you're looking to optimize your energy levels and beat the afternoon slump for good. So those are all the tools that you need to beat the afternoon slump and never feel tired again midday, and make sure that you keep working for the hours that you should be working, because it's not normal for you in the afternoon to feel like you need to have a nap or you need to have a cup of coffee. This is not natural, and you need to learn the mechanisms that are going to be equipping you with anything possible to get through that and beat the afternoon slump. So guys, let me know down in the comments if you do incorporate any of those practices already, and let me know if there are any other tools that you want me to talk about, or any other issues that you might be having that you want me to give you the solutions to them, so that you can be a more efficient entrepreneur and a CEO, so that you are funneling all that focus and more energy to the business. And yeah, other than that, guys, this is all the tools that I have to analyze for today for you to be able to beat that afternoon slump. Take those tools and put them to good use, because they are going to be transforming your energy levels. And without being said, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like down below, give me a subscribe, because that truly helps. And other than that, I cannot wait to see you on the next video. Take care. Cheers.